DraftKings on the golf.
Oh yeah, we'll do that.
Oh.
We have so many names to go through. We have a poll for that. We have so many names. We have many new franchises to name. It's getting out of hand. So that's our job is to rename.
What? There's other franchises changing names.
Well, Cleveland Indians are looking into it.
2 listeners that got blocked by RTG.
Yeah. We have. There's like a club, a small one that we're starting.
I love it.
Yeah. So I'm still not my personal. My personal
the
one
Indians
isn't blocked.
is that all right?
Yeah.
It's offensive?
What's offensive?
Just rename
the
it.
word Indian.
Don't get me started.
Can we go to a break?
Okay,
you guys, you saw my shirt. It says Caucasians on it.
I know we move fast because that's what our show is. Our show is basically what
your
happy hour would be.
Your ethnicity is not offensive.
But I don't want to get into this renaming thing and then turn around and be like, oh, we have Miss Goodson on the phone.
No, absolutely.
So we have to take a break. Prep again about what Minority Athlete Coalition, and then she'll be calling in at 12:30. So we got to take our first break.
Okay, are we ready? Tim Hernandez wants you to focus on new and fun ways to get fit for yourself and your family. ID Life wants you to be healthier, have more energy, get better sleep, and achieve more focus. ID Life is a health and wellness company that is revolutionizing the industry with customized nutrition. The ID Life name stands for Individually Designed Life and was founded on the principle that no two people are alike. So everyone has unique nutritional needs. Tim Hernandez is your guy in the Quad Cities to offer you personalized guidance that is tailored specifically to your health factors and personal goals. Do you have health problems that may be holding you back? The doctors and scientists develop what nutrients you should be taking and what supplements will benefit you the most. Go to qchealth.idlife.com to sign up for unconditional, no questions asked, 30-day money-back guarantee. Call Tim Hernandez today at 563-508-7221 so he can show you that what makes ID Life different is you.
You like that? You like that? Woo! Give me a hell yeah! I said give me a hell yeah!
This is Merrick Brave from SCW Pro, and you are listening to Don't Hassle Us, We're Local,
ESPN 1170 AM.
From lines of credit in Chicagoland to equipment finance loans in the Quad Cities to better cash flow in Milwaukee, First Midwest Bank is committed to using our local knowledge and ideas to help our clients get their business momentum back. Visit wehaveideas.firstmidwest.com. You have plans, we have ideas. First Midwest Bank, member FDIC.
Golick and Wingo.
Drew Brees put out several apology videos, and even his wife put out something that said, "We are the problem. We understand." And not surprisingly, President Trump responded to Drew Brees over the weekend and said, "Hey, you don't have to apologize for anything for what you did." And Drew Brees responded back to President Trump and basically said, "No, I was wrong, and I'm figuring this out." That, to me, was very significant.
Golick and Wingo, morning 6 till 9 on the Quad Cities Sports Leader. ESPN 1170.
When you hire an employee, you check their resume first. But are you checking the resumes of the businesses you work with? QC Custom Tees has an outstanding resume, partnering with the Moline PD to raise funds for local charities like the Boys and Girls Club of the Quad Cities, Gilda's Club, and the Two Rivers YMCA Live Strong program. They're proud sponsors of the River Bandits, the Quad City Marathon, QC Rush Soccer, and more. QC Custom Tees is all about the Quad Cities. With so many local businesses and organizations using QC Custom Tees, the question remains, why aren't you?
This is the Dan Levitar Show on ESPN Radio.
My top 3 movies with Angelina Jolie. Number 3, Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Oh, hey, classic. Angelina Jolie, Brad Pitt. Whew, best looking couple in the history of couples. Number 2 on that list, Kung Fu Panda. Underrated movie, so good. And my top movie starring Angelina Jolie, Lara Croft, Tomb Raider, the laser scene. Oh.
That's not.
Stugotz, are you talking about Entrapment with Catherine Zeta-Jones?
Oh, yeah, that was a mistake. Whoops. But Lara Croft, Tomb Raider. The laser scene. I can't believe I got that wrong.
The Dan Levitard Show, 9 till noon on the Quad Cities Sports Leader, ESPN 1170.
Ace Muffler Clinic has been serving the Quad Cities area for over 60 years. There's a reason why our customers continue to trust us with their vehicles. We can fix almost anything. We can fix your muffler, tune your brakes, change your oil, change your tires, replace your battery, customize your exhaust, tune your engine, repair your suspension, replace your radiator and your water pump. Align your automobile, refill your transmission fluid, and change your filters. And we believe in doing all those things right the first time. For fast, friendly service, visit Ace Muffler Clinic at 4th Ave and 15th Street in Rock Island.
Oye, amigo, it is the Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio.
My brain doesn't. My first instinct is not the right thing. Like, you guys seen that
I said 2 minutes left. No, the 2 minute offense. You have failed. No, you're gonna get tackled in the backfield. Get out of here, Brennan. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Goodbye.
The Dan Le Batard Show, 9 till noon on the Quad Cities sports leader, ESPN 1170.
River Valley Turf is your family-owned and operated John Deere dealer, specializing in both lawn and garden and commercial equipment. From walk-behind mowers and lawn tractors to utility vehicles and compact tractors with a variety of attachments. Everything to get your toughest job done. They also have a huge inventory of both new and used John Deere outdoor power equipment in stock and ready for your test ride. That's right. Try it before you buy it. Stop in today and see what River Valley Turf has to offer. Conveniently located in Davenport, Silvis, and online at rivervalleyturf.com.
Tell Alexa to play ESPN 1170. This is the Quad Cities sports leader, ESPN 1170 AM.
Spicy is right, Leah. That means we are spicing it right up here in the Hassel Castle, brought to you by Dunright Satellite and Dish. Do not call her Spice Girl. Do not call her
Brittany.
Oh, God.
Call her Sir Bomber, if you will.
Yeah.
Sir Bomber, if you're nasty.
Am I going to be knighted?
Thank you for tuning in to ESPN 1170 AM here in the Quad Cities in eastern Iowa, located in Davenport.
So
right at the top of Brady Street Hill, the heart of Davenport, in the spot where if they run the Bix, it goes right by this building, one of the greatest events in the state of Iowa, in the city of Davenport.
You won the Bix, didn't you, Jay?
Yeah.
I thought so. I think you won this year.
Danya was in first.
You can follow
right
us
there.
on Twitter at QC Hassel. Also on Facebook at Don't Hassle Us, We're Local. We're on Facebook Live right now as you're listening to this, and you can listen to us. Download the app if you want to, ESPN 1170 AM. And wherever you download the App Store, you can listen online as well, ESPN1170am.com. One more time, for those who don't know out there, we are located in Davenport, but we represent the Quad Cities. That's Eastern Iowa and Western Illinois. ESPN 1170 AM, for those of you out there listening who do not know just exactly where this local radio station is located.
We represent our boy Huggy Bear over on the other side of the creek.
Huggy Bear.
Just minutes away from an interview, which I think this is exactly where we need to go with this show. Instead of focusing on, and I don't want to say the interview that we had on Thursday wasn't a negative, because it wasn't. It's eye-opening, and you're trying to figure out where it all works. But we want to look more towards the positive, and I think that's where Felicia Goodson's going with Minority Athlete Coalition that she came up with. And we're going to let her tell the story and then ask her some questions and get to know her, because hopefully we make her a friend of the show. Hopefully she becomes a friend of the show.
You can't force anybody to be a friend, Jay.
But I'll tell you what, she's a great follow on Twitter. When I was on Twitter.
Yes.
Who's that?
Felicia.
Oh, Felicia. Okay.
She's got a ton of great tweets. Everything's positive from what I saw from her. She's just, it seems to me like she's a great person. So I'm excited for this interview coming forward. But Leah, yeah, you gotta follow her. Man.
I will. I'll follow her. I'm only following 40 people. So
but other than that, Twitter sucks.
It's at favored 347 is her Twitter.
Okay.
FAVORED 3470. So, yeah, we're gonna talk to her real soon. She had a nice shout out today. Her and her husband Maurice on the Washed Up Walk-Ons podcast as well, talking about following them on Twitter, just like you just said there, T-Roy. So yes. This day and age, when sometimes you get a little frustrated about how things are going down, it's always good to have someone do this. I think I have her now calling me on my phone, so I'm gonna have to pick this up, and then I'm gonna have to ask her if I can just call her on her ESPN 1170. So can you just take over here for a second?
Yeah, I'll take over there.
He's scratching his back with a fork.
It's okay, man.
It's a dingle hopper.
What is your Twitter handle again?
My Twitter handle is, is it the at?
Yeah.
Is that what okay, so then it's at bomber.comer. So it's BOMBERAT. Wait, bomber. Sorry, I just messed that up. Bomber.comer.
So
how is it?
The at symbol.
Yes.
And then bomber, BOMBERAT.
Bomber, no, it's dot. So instead of at, it's dot. So it's bomber, DOT, commerce, COMMER.
Bomber.com.
I came up with it on the fly. I didn't have a lot of time. I was eager to see the comments.
It'd be nice to change that to Sir, but that's okay.
Well, we might. We'll see. We'll wait for the voting polls to be done because we did do the poll.
I think they're done.
Yeah, but I think it was just Sir and Bomber, and then we just ended up with Sir Bomber. We're calling Felicia right now.
Okay.
And making sure so we have that's the other thing about our show. There's no producer for it, so just kind of we do these things on the fly. You guys just get to hear. We pull back the fourth wall.
Off the cuff.
Yeah, you get to see it.
Hello.
Hi, Felicia. Welcome to Don't Hassle Us. We're Local. Appreciate giving your time to us today.
Well, thank you for having me.
Well, first things first, most importantly, with everything that's going on, and then that you guys started the Minority Athlete Coalition, we just think it's a fantastic thing, and we want to know more about it for our listeners, and then what we can do as far as fundraising, donating, anything moving forward for the future, because this isn't a thing that we want to just be like, oh, we did this in the summer of 2020. We want it to continue through the fall and in the 2021 and whatnot. So can you give us a background about the Minority Athlete Coalition, and then and some of the things that you guys are doing, and then we'll also, after that, we'll get to know you.
Sure. So I guess the original thought kind of came from, I guess in lieu of everything that was happening with the George Floyd case, a lot of different, entities started kind of speaking out about racial disparities, and out of that came the former players of Iowa. And so, as you guys all know, I have a son there, but I also have a collegiate athlete who attends Mercer University. Mm-hmm. So as I, began to read the stories, it was something that, of course, is close to my heart as a, a minority athlete's mom. And, I kind of was sitting around and just thinking about it. And I actually had a conversation via direct message with James Daniels. And as he and I conversed, it just became more evident that it was something that I needed to do. And originally, I can't lie, I was a little scared and hesitant, so I was kind of like, okay, do I do it? And I'm a pretty spiritual person, so I just felt like my spirit was just like, just do it. And when I made the decision to do it and made the announcement, like there was just an overflow of support, not just from Iowa, but from people really all across the country. And so it's kind of with that in mind that we created the coalition. What our real desire to do is to create a healthy, constructive dialogue and educational program that will be beneficial to not just the athlete, but to the programs that athletes play for. I think in wake of like the whole Iowa thing, one of the things that it just sounded like that was consistent among every athlete was that their voice was not heard, or either they were afraid in the moment to use their voice for whatever reason, whether it felt like they didn't have, they weren't comfortable, or what may be for playing time, or maybe because, they thought it might, affect their, futures going forward, whatever the case may be. So we kind of created the coalition with that in mind. So what we really kind of want to roll out a 3-phase program. The first program, what we're going to concentrate on is the educational piece. We're in the process of, developing the programming. And basically what it will consist of is that we will send out maybe an anonymous questionnaire to, let's just say that we're going to service Iowa and put together a racial sensitivity workshop for their coaching staff, or, in general. What we would do is send out a questionnaire to their athletes. And basically in that questionnaire, they will be asked probing questions, as well as have the opportunity to kind of summarize anything additional that they might want to add. We would compile that data, and then we would gear the workshop and the training material towards the feedback that we received. I think in doing that, you basically allow athletes to raise the question without the fear of, losing a starting spot, or that their futures might be affected by it. but they also get to kind of convey their feelings. But in the process, it makes the coaching staff aware of what their athletes might be feeling, if they're doing a good job, where they're weak, where they can, improve, and it can create a better culture and environment for the athletes. But I mean, in the long run, it makes the program better. So that's kind of the first place we're looking at. Later on down the road, we're kind of looking into maybe advocacy, and that would probably be just to, if a player that, say, came forward like, I guess, the Akram Wadley situation, and he felt the way he was feeling, he would be able to reach out to our organization, and we would be able to maybe go to the administration on his behalf. And then we thought about doing a mental health component. I think I was reading one of the young guys, and he said as a result, he had developed PTSD. Well, that's a lot of weight to carry around as a student athlete. And I think, what most people don't realize is that every athlete, they're not born with the silver spoon in their mouths. And some of them come from really extreme conditions, and, they get a stipend check, but some of those guys have to send those checks home to support a family, or, hungry siblings, or help pay a light bill. And so some of these guys have a lot on their plates, and they still have to, carry a full-time student academic load, and still have to learn the playbook, and still have to do fall camp and summer camp, and, study for exams and travel, and they have a whole lot on their plates. And so another aspect is we want to be able to support them in that way. And then kind of where we are with the organization and how people can get involved. We have completed our articles of incorporation, and we have filed for our 501c3 status. And so when I originally made the announcement, a guy named Randy Saunders, who is an attorney with Nelson Mullins, he's a huge Iowa Hawkeye fan. He's an Iowa native. And he reached out to me because this was something that he was equally as passionate about, because he too was a collegiate athlete. And I mean, when he reached out, and he is the president of the pro bono team with Nelson Mullins, so he put together a dynamic team. We have a guy named Russell Love who handles all of the basically the legal stuff, getting the articles of incorporation done and all the legal paperwork. We have a guy named Mark Williams, who's also with Nelson Mullins. He basically specializes in nonprofit fundraising. And then we have a lady named Taylor Daly, who she basically specializes in programming. And so Randy has put together a dynamic team. And so we are in the process of rolling out the programming phase. And then people will be able to get more involved financially. We kind of would like to take the approach of, say, like a Fellowship of Christian Athletes, where we have a presence on campuses. The student athlete fee would definitely be free. And then we're thinking about doing like a tiered membership program where people would be able to donate to the cause on an ongoing basis. And so that's kind of where we are in the conception stages. And, our main goal is just to look for a constructive way to just kind of innovate change in, athletics.
That's one, amazing.
Yeah, two, you said it all. I don't think I have any questions.
No, but
right. Didn't she cover that all in like 5 minutes?
But it's like everything I had a question about, she answered before I could say it.
She did awesome. I'm still trying to remember, I'm replaying it in my head right now.
Yeah, Felicia, I took notes. I was taking notes just to make sure. I'm like, this is great.
All this happened in this short amount of time, which is incredible, because it's, like you said, you had an idea, and you just your faith kind of just led you to just keep pushing it, and for someone who's tried multiple different things, an idea, and tried to get people behind, it's not easy for this to happen. But to have all the right people, because I've said this plenty of times, the easiest word in the English language is no, but you, with Randy and his group, for everyone to say yes and get on board,
outstanding
and get this
to get
moving
that
is
pro bono.
awesome.
And wanting real change, like that's something else.
This
like,
is real
this
change.
This isn't talking the talk. You're walking the walk. You're actually taking steps to actually make change, rather than just vocalize that you want it. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Okay.
And I think too, in everything, even from a athlete's perspective, there's a constructive way to do it. I think I listened to you guys the other day, and you have to.
Are you referring to our interview last Thursday?
You're referring to the earbud drop?
Yeah.
Well, that was not what I would call any sort of change. That was nothing that I would refer to as trying to help anyone out. And I think that person was solely out for themselves, and that was sad because, I think as our show, we really want to get the message out, and we encourage anyone to come talk to us that wants to talk, because as a native Iowan and a Marine Corps veteran, it's things like of someone that's lived a lot of different places in my life and come back to Iowa. I'm very proud of my state. I'm very proud of the university itself. And when I see something like this happen, it doesn't make me feel good. And I want it to not be that way. And for you to come along and do this and come up with something that makes 100% sense. You can't look at that and say that there's anything wrong with that at all. And it's just to start out with the first thing you said, to educate. And I think that is truly the issue. If we educate as many people as we can on the issues, we will tend to have less issues down the line.
And we will all want the same outcome. We will all, we're all on the same page.
And by the way, I'm a huge fan of your son. And he did so. I mean, to go to things that before we had trying times, he did so well last year, and I am like, wow, this kid's incredible. So let's hope we have a season this year. That's,
we gotta have him on,
and we'll make sure to keep our eye on Taylor too.
Yes.
Yes.
In the article. The article that Pete wrote for SI.com, the Hawkeye Maven, you have a quote in here that I just find fascinating, and I think it started right away when you started to describe the coalition, and that was it was about education, okay? And the quote is that sometimes it's not that we're racist, we just don't know. And I think that's the important thing.
Well, to speak to that, I think the danger in, I guess, what we're seeing with the athletes is that sometimes you can get caught up in the, I'm trying to use my words wisely here. The story gets lost in the enormity of the things that these guys experience is getting lost in a dialogue that's not healthy. And the personality is kind of overshadowing the importance of the story. And I think what people need to look at is that the guy who basically initiated this conversation, which was James Daniels, if you listen to the interviews, I really listened to him and Jordan Lomax on the Washed Up Walk-Ons interview the other day. And one of the questions that I found very profound was that I believe it was Tyler asked him, did he feel, number one, that the coaching staff that was on staff capable of leading this group forward or this program forward, and did he feel like the Iowa culture was racist? And one of the things that Jordan started the conversation with was, he said, I'm very careful to use the word racist because it's a really heavy word to kind of portray on someone. He was like, but I would probably more so use the term bias. And that's kind of what I gathered just from reading everything, even concerning Coach Doyle, is that it appeared to be more just an insensitive human being who didn't really get it. I didn't really, and I've been fortunate enough to interact with a lot of this coaching staff, Coach Ferentz in particular, who's taken a lot of grunt of this I guess, backlash. He's been in my home. he's probably one of the most beautiful people. Him, his wife, Coach Barnes, Coach Foster, Coach Copeland. These are some really great people, and some things you just can't fake.
Right.
And, I mean,
Absolutely.
Right.
You know, maybe Coach Ferentz might be guilty of, you know, not being knowledgeable because he had a person that he had trusted for 20 years. So if he has a downfall or any responsibility in it, it probably would be that. But I'm privy to be a part of this program. The football program, I don't know if a lot of people are aware, but every time they win, they have this victory dinner on Sundays. And you go to this victory dinner. We were there, and I can't remember which game it was. And it's Coach Ferentz, and it's his wife, and it's all the coaches and their children, and they're running around, and they're playing, and they're giggling. It's one of the most beautiful family experiences I've ever seen. Coach Ferentz, at that dinner, he got up, he came and spoke to my husband and I and Brian Ferentz, and my parents was with us, and he held a conversation, and his wife. And I've had personal, you know, interactions with these people, so it's hurtful to see that, you know, people who really don't know them intimately, you know, would accuse them of racism.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think, you know, we do have to identify when somebody is just racially insensitive and maybe biased, but not necessarily racist. Sometimes people just don't know. I mean, I was, I think I did an interview, and I was telling somebody that I had an experience on my job. And I lead a team, and so one of the young ladies on my team, she's a jokester, and she always makes this comment, and what the comment basically is, we will order lunch and say, like, her lunch would be $13 and mine would be $8. And she would say, oh, mine is higher because I'm black, and we would all laugh. And so it was something that we all took very lightly, but then we had a person who joined our team who was offended by it, and it ended up being an HR situation. Well, in her mind, she didn't offend anybody. She was making a joke, but it offended someone. And so I think we're just in a very sensitive time in the world in general, and a lot of it just stems from people not being, you know, educated enough, you know, to know when to say something and when not to say something. And then if it feels maybe like you shouldn't say it, you probably shouldn't say it. But
yes.
I wouldn't warrant, you know, a coach throwing a water bottle or kicking a trash can as somebody that's a racist. It's a coach who, I mean, my boys have been doing this since they were 5 years old. Believe me, I've seen a lot worse. I've seen basketball players throw chairs across the gym.
Yeah.
You know, my dad always tells this story about when he was in high school and they were in the run for the national championship or the state championship. And he said he was a wide receiver, and he said he was going out for the ball, and it was a pivotal time in the game, and he dropped the ball. And he says he goes to the sideline, and his coach says, "Well, if it was a ham biscuit, you would have caught it." And so, I mean, I've seen coaches, you know, just cuss children out, and you know, and as a parent, you're kind of like, "Oh my gosh!" Like, but I mean,
you see coaches kind of make fun of the huskier kids too, though. You know what I mean? Like they don't just pick. They make fun of everybody. It's not.
Oh yeah, you know, and Felicia, I guess I want to kind of go back because I've had the opportunity to talk with people off the record about Coach Doyle, people that I had serious interaction with him, and I've gotten conflicting reports. People that support him 100%, and for lack of a better word, I had an individual tell me that basically the coach was an a-hole, and that he was an a-hole to everybody. And I'm like,
right,
okay, you know, and I think kind of that speaks to what you're saying is. But you said it in a very much, you know, articulate way, but you know, he was just biased in general, and sometimes that came off very much the wrong way. Much like the joke the lady you worked with was using. Well, you know, we do live in a PC culture, if you will, right now, and sometimes unwittingly people are getting offended by something that had, in essence, don't you think like that had no mean to be harmful, but.
Don't you think that's a defense mechanism too right now with this cancel culture, that people are throwing that word around so frivolously that it's kind of taking away the validity of when it really does happen?
Yes, and then people too. You see a lot of people too that's just trying to use trying to use the opportunity to spin their own narratives and it kind of diminishes the validity of guys who really had a real issue.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Exactly.
Yeah, and it is crazy because the whole Doyle thing, it really does baffle me. I only met Coach Doyle one time, and I think that's when we did Tyler's official visit. But I only have to go off of what my own son says. And again, I was watching Watched Up Walk-Ons. If you can't tell, I'm a fan. But
well, they're a fan of you too, so I'm going to bring that up in a minute. Yeah, go on.
Because 3 of the guys on there, 2 of them absolutely love Coach Doyle, and one of them, expressed, I think, when all this came out, how he just did not care a lot for him. He talked about being in Coach, Doyle's doghouse and how, he would rip him to pieces and, kind of some of the experiences that he had. And then I talked to my son when, this all kind of happened. The night everything started coming out, I believe it was a Friday night, and Maurice and I were watching a movie, and the boys were actually out with friends. And so kind of when it all happened, Tyler really didn't even know it was kind of happening. So he came in that night. We kind of waited for him to come in. And so, we sat down and we had a conversation. And our first thought was, oh, my gosh, like, what in the world? Like, is Tyler, being treated this way? Like, what have we missed? Because honestly speaking, like, we visited a lot of schools. Tyler had, I guess, about 35, close to 40 scholarship offers.
Wow.
And it was very few coaches that I felt comfortable enough to leave my son with.
Right.
Like, I mean, you're basically relinquishing your child to people that you want to share your same values and, that's kind of going to mold him for the next phase of adulthood. And I totally felt that we had picked the right place. To say I was blown away was, I think it would be an understatement. And so when we came in and we told him what was going on, first he was kind of like, huh? Like, and I said, yeah, like it's like trending on Twitter. Like, it was just blowing up so quick. And I said, so what is, your relationship with Coach Doyle? And he said, Coach Doyle is my dude. He was like, I totally trust Coach Doyle.
Aww.
And I said, do you feel like that he's a racist? He was like, no. He was like, he's military. He's hardcore.
That's
and
what we
he
said.
likes things a certain kind of way. And he said, and I guess, his coaching could kind of be considered bullying. He said, but I wouldn't say he's a racist. And so he said, he even kind of went on to, kind of explain, like, if you put your foot on the line the wrong way, he'll rip you one. If you're 1 second late, he makes you leave workouts. He was like, he's a stickler for being on time and handling your business. He was like, and so, a lot of people can't really handle that. But see, Tyler kind of grew up with hardcore coaches who really didn't care. Even his high school coach, Coach Stewart, we love him to death, but he's hardcore. Like, I mean, Tyler had gotten hurt, and he said he came out one day in his, what do you call it thing, a boot, and he said, Coach Stewart said, oh, here you come with your loser's lip.
Wow.
Yeah. But don't you think coaches are harder on the players that have more talent too?
Sometimes
they really are.
It could be.
We've all had a coach that we think was like a stickler for everything and just always on you, but they seem to be a little bit harder on the kids that demanded a little bit more.
Or they saw the potential in you to do that, or they wanted the best out of you.
Exactly.
Or if they even felt they had a rapport.
That's a coach's job.
Or they felt they had a rapport with you that they could say that, something like that.
Right. And it doesn't matter the color of your skin, in my opinion, because, I mean, I've had all colors play in sports with me, and our coaches were hard on all of us. I mean, I got made fun of because I ran funny, because I had a limp, because I was throwing up hungover one day.
You still do run funny.
As softball practice. You know what I mean? Like, I'm making a point that it doesn't have to always do with the color of your skin. It's just... and like we were talking about your perception of somebody, somebody's going to love him, somebody's going to hate him. But your perception of somebody is based on how you met, what happened when you met, what your interaction with that person is. Everybody's perception of me is going to be different based on how we met and et cetera. Same with everybody else.
Right.
And Felicia, I think it was very interesting you brought up the military aspect of it. Like that's what Tyler said about Coach Doyle, because I think that's something I kind of touched on when this thing dropped. I said I think, you know, from someone that's been in the military. By the way, I was stationed in Georgia, the beautiful state that you live in. But that aspect and that style of coaching sometimes is not for everybody, and I brought that up. And I'm like, I wonder if this is, you know.
But you don't conform to your players. Your players conform to your coaching in more opportunities or more.
And I think what we're seeing now, and like with what you're starting here, is I think what Kirk had done inadvertently by not allowing the players to have a Twitter account, by not like certain things, and I think he was doing that to protect them in ways.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, yes, it did to them, at some of them at least, make it feel like they didn't have a voice in ways. And for you to have this here, and for the fact that you have the vision to say, I want to see this on every campus across the country, like the Fellowship of Christian Athletes, that is so great that you have the vision to go that far. Yeah. To understand that it's bigger than one university, and this needs to be a situation where every athlete has a chance to reach out. And it's not just football. You know, this is going to go to athletes of all different sports, and I'll tell you what, Felicia, this is.
Yes, we support
I think we all in life say, I want to be known for something, or as I spend my short time here on Earth, when it's all said and done, what am I going to be known for? This is
the earbud
Felicia
drop.
Goodson. This is it. This is you, and this is awesome.
Can I want to ask.
Thank you so much.
I want to bring up your friends at Washed Up Walk-Ons. They dropped their podcast today. I don't know if you got to listen to it. They were very vocal, which is more vocal than they have been in the past, I would say. You know, they give their stories and they laugh and everything. They're vocal about certain things, but they do bring up a tweet you have, and I can't find it. So if I paraphrase wrong, let me know. But they did bring up a tweet that you had, and it was like, why do we continue to pick at a scab? Why not just rip it open and let it all out, right?
Yes.
Now, is that just referring? Is that referring to like, why are the stories coming out slowly? Let's just all get it out there, and then we can heal together. Or what was that in reference to?
Okay, so I think if you look at some other programs around the country whose athletes have started to come out and speak about things that they took issue with, like one of Tyler's really good friends, he attends the University of Texas. They came together as a team, as a united front, and they released a statement and a document that basically says that they wanted the name of one of the buildings changed because of what the person whose name was on the building represented. If you look at Florida State, they came out in a group when they felt like their coach was not supporting them when the George Floyd stuff happened and that he didn't give enough attention to it. If you look at the University of Maryland, I believe I saw on the Big Ten Network where the players released a joint statement. I think in my mind is that I'm really not sure what the benefit of just releasing something every day. Like, I mean, other than to what I feel like is just, I guess, a mission to stick it to them. It doesn't feel constructive. I think the one thing I was listening for the other day is like, you guys kept saying, okay, so what's the goal? What's the end game? What are you guys looking to accomplish? If it's monetary compensation, say, we're looking to be compensated for the hardship and the, mental distress or whatever it is that these guys experience. But I don't think it really helps the cause. And I think as a mother who has an active athlete in the program, it makes me angry because you still have, and to say, oh, I would never send my black son to the University of Iowa. Well, I have a black son at the University of Iowa who's enjoying his experience, who's still a part of this program. I find it insulting because everybody's experience is different. And so for me, it just felt like, every day you wake up and it's something else. And, you feel like, because I think after the first couple of days and after, Merriweather, and Tyler calls Kelly Martin Ivo, so I just kind of go to Ivo. And then, and then Keith Duncan. And when they came out, in, unity with Coach Ferentz, and, I felt like they kind of spoke to what they felt. And I think the important thing I think we missed with that conversation, too, I think I kind of took offense that he kind of alluded to that they were being used as puppets. One thing I know for sure about Kayvon Merriweather is he's no puppet. And I think everybody can see that from the statement that he even released. He's a very strong young man who speaks his mind. He has a great personality and great character. So, again, you have somebody speaking to something about a kid that they know nothing about. And so that was, kind of part of it. And honestly, it wasn't the current players that kind of started sounding this alarm. It was former players. And Kayvon kind of, before all of this even happened, kind of had started a movement just basically supporting the George Floyd cause. He was, a part of some of the Iowa City protests and, things of that nature. So a lot of the things that he was putting out was basically, surrounding that narrative more so than the things that were happening with Iowa. And then it kind of evolved into the conversation of Iowa athletics. So his cause was kind of started with something totally different. It didn't start with, him advocating for, racial disparity or anything within the Iowa football program. I think a lot of the guys started to speak out as kind of the, former guys started speaking out. But I just felt like, I really felt like the release of one story every day, compile, the stories or, compile the group, let them come together in unity and really, because too, I feel like you lose your audience. If the goal is to, tell everybody's story or whatever, after a while people are just kind of like, okay, next, and I feel like that's kind of what we got to with these stories. I saw somebody say something about one guy's story the other day about, oh, really, we're talking about, how a steak is cooked now, and it's kind of like, okay, and then you read some of them and it's kind of like, all right. So I just think that the guys' experience is lost or is getting lost in the personality of someone that, I don't know. I don't want to, accuse him of whatever it is that he's doing. I just feel like whatever he's doing, it can be done in a, more constructive manner. And I think one of the other things I found interesting is that if the goal is to really, really promote change in college athletics for Black athletes or, minority athletes, a conversation has to be had with the college. You don't change a culture by just releasing venom on the internet, because that's basically what you're creating, and you're creating, hostility, and, you've got this crowd over here that's like, how dare you, and then you got this crowd over here that's, kind of like, oh my gosh, this is so terrible, these guys don't deserve this. I mean, you have all these, but nobody's unified, so you're not really bringing together people on a cause to really promote the change or to have a conversation to say, how do we change this? How do we go forward? And if our desire is to gain monetary action or, a civil lawsuit, first of all, why are we not dealing with an attorney who released a statement on behalf of these guys? And then after you've, received compensation or all has gone to court, what did you accomplish? I mean, did the dollar that you're looking to obtain, did that settle the problem? No,
right,
you
exactly.
walked around with a little more money in your bank account, but we didn't fix anything, So that's kind of where I feel like with the whole just releasing a story every day, like it's too much. I feel like it could be, just a unified, these guys come together, they, decide what it is that they're trying to accomplish. And then once you've gotten out of it what you want to get out of it, how do you help guys that's in the program now and the guys going forward that they don't experience those same things? Because I think that's what's most important. And that's one of the things I really admired about Jordan and Daniel is that this wasn't their goal. One of the things I listened to both of them say on that podcast is that I would not change my experience there. They didn't feel that the culture was racist but biased, and that they really wanted to see the program better going forward. And that one of the other questions they asked him was, did they feel like that the coaching staff that existed, now that Coach Doyle was gone, did they feel like that was the right, coaching staff to lead? And both of them agreed yes. So that's my thing is that, I feel like they're not considering that there are other athletes, not just black athletes, but, other athletes that's in the program that are, trying to get ready for a football season. And this is a distraction. And the more they just, they just pour in it. And if what you're preparing for is a class action lawsuit, which is what it feels like to me, I can't, this is me totally speculating.
Yep.
Right.
It's
Don't
what
disagree.
it feels like. Then, pull back, get an attorney. You guys pull your stories together, pull your lawsuit together, and then let your attorney release a statement, and then you move forward with whatever your action is. But I just don't feel like the way it's being done is constructive. I don't really feel like it doesn't help collegiate sports in general. It just to me it just feels divisive, and it feels like you're not unifying, a cause, and you're not creating any change.
Finger pointing.
And so
it's a lot of finger pointing.
Yeah, and that's in no way taking away, what these guys, have, experienced. Some things are just about perception. I think I was on another show, and I was, telling them that some of the things I heard coming out earlier, like, oh, we couldn't wear hoodies or hats or
earrings,
whatever in the facility. For me, I was like, seriously? I mean, because I'm privy to work in corporate America. I feel like those things are life lessons. Like, you have a dress code. I have to show up a certain way. If my dress code is business casual or,
right.
I can't show up in shorts and a tank top.
Falls back into Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, And, it's funny because we were having this conversation, even with Tyler. And, I said, the thing of it is a lot of these guys don't realize that if NFL is the goal, when you see these guys on Sunday marking down the tunnel, arriving at the game with their briefcases, what do they have on?
Yes.
A suit and a tie.
Right.
Yeah.
That's their dress code. Like, that's what they
exactly
have to do. And I feel like those are lessons that prepare you for life. Which is one of the things that I fell in love with about
society isn't going to conform to you. Society's not going to conform
Felicia,
to you.
You kind of touched on it. I was saying, no matter for whatever reason you go to college at the University of Iowa, whether it's to be a football player, a lawyer, a doctor, whatever,
you need
the
structure.
University's job is to prepare you for the next level, which is your professional job. Well, as a professional athlete, yes, they have exactly what you said. They have dress codes,
structure, discipline, etc.
Hear me out on this.
Absolutely.
Hear me out on this because I like where this is going. All right, so you brought up Lomax because a couple things I want to talk about. The Minority Athlete Coalition that you want to put on campus is a big deal because that includes all sports and if not even more, like you said, just having the FCA.
Right.
And Lomax said on the podcast that you referred to that a lot of black student athletes come from cities where, and he says that, the students look the same as him, his coaches were the same as him, the teachers were the same as him, but when they make the campus in the city of Iowa City, the environment in the campus is much different, and doesn't really make him feel safe or accepted. And what he was saying was football was supposed to be his safe haven, and he wanted to be around, where he could kind of reflect where his upbringing, his culture, meaning earrings or whatnot. So I understood where he came with that. So when you say we need to talk to the universities, I strongly believe in that with you because it's not a football thing. It is a university
Yeah.
thing,
Mm-hmm.
and it is a campus thing.
Bingo.
And so you can't just say like, oh, hey, Coach Ferentz and his staff. It's not that. It's overall, and that's why, like you said, when you stress like we've got to talk to the university. I want to hammer that back home. Now, what you're saying is that with what they're wearing, somebody like the representative for Robert, like the representative Robert T. Green, he's going to say they have no one has any right to tell you how to dress, is what he's going to say.
Right.
And that's the unfortunate thing, because the answer is always going to be he has no right to no one has any right to tell anyone how to dress. And I agree with you that you are preparing yourself. I have said it on this show before. We applaud, and not just us, all the way up to the people in Bristol, Connecticut. They applaud every Sunday or Monday or whatever the day after a football game. They applaud the so-called Patriot way. And the Patriot way is you show up this way, you talk this way, you talk to the media this way, period. All right? And so when Iowa or any program kind of does that to be like, wait, we want you to just kind of tighten it up. Let's just not even say like, hey, we're going to censor you. Let's just tighten it up and be professional. Well, then other people say like, well, they're not paid like professionals. So I'm just kind of where you're at with that, and that we all agree that, hey, you are being prepared to be a professional. There's going to be the flip side of the coin where people saying like they're not paid like professionals. You know.
Right. And I mean, and that's the thing too. Like, I think people don't even realize that, you know, most athletes, most celebrities, most people who have a national platform, they have a publicist. They have people that, you know, kind of navigate what they say on certain you know, conversations, because in protection of the person, but just kind of so that you don't, you know, I don't know, like even like the whole, you know, Twitter thing for me, that was one of the things that, you know, and this is another thing I kind of wanted to address, is that Iowa is very transparent about what people are calling the Iowa way or Iowa culture. It's not some secret that you don't get on the recruiting trail. They kind of really hammer what they expect. You know, Coach Ferentz even went on, when we had our first conversation with him, one of the things he told Tyler, he said, I would rather have a team full of 3 stars than a team full of 5 stars with big egos, and I have a program with a whole bunch of issues. I live in the SEC country. There's not one day that goes by
you just said that.
Football player is not on the news for DUI and, you know, drinking and driving, or, you know, maybe sexual harassment or something, because they're out of control. And that was one of the things that, as a parent, that I appreciated was, so story about Twitter. One of the things Coach Ferentz Coach Foster, who's Tyler's position coach, and for people that don't know, he's African American. He's from the South. He's one of the most amazing people. He one of the things he said was that, you know, when you get on campus, we don't allow the guys to tweet. They can have their Instagram, they can have their Facebook, which to me, you still can utilize your voice on both of those platforms. And the kind of way he explained it was Twitter is just another world, and we do it just to kind of protect our athletes. And so I'm going to give you an example of one of the times that I was like, thank God Tyler's not on Twitter, or, you know, it cannot say anything on Twitter or whatever. The Penn State game, Tyler fumbled. And so after the game, he was already kind of, you know, mentally distraught. He's really, really hard on himself when he makes a mistake. And he, you know, they still get on Twitter and kind of read or whatever, but you have trolls and stuff like that. And this guy inboxed him and said, if you can't hold on to the football, then you don't need to play. It was the one moment that I thought to myself, thank God Iowa does not allow their athletes to tweet. In my mind, as a parent, that was protecting my son from people like this guy,
right,
who says mean things on a regular basis that affect them mentally, you know, that could affect their game and how they move forward. And, you know, for guys who may not be, you know, mentally tough, you know, who, you know, they do make a major mistake in a football game, who, you know, starts reading, you know, some of the stuff that fans say, and it totally changes them. You know what I'm saying? So in my mind, I kind of feel like the Twitter thing was protection. I never looked at it as them suppressing anyone's voice. But, again, perception is, everything. Some things that, most people will say is, racist. I don't really, identify that as, something that I, compare or that I relate to my culture. It's something that I just feel like is just, kind of a part of life. As a mom, some of the things my sons wear and how they do their hair, I hate it. Like they will tell you, like, I hate that hair. Tyler, before he left, he braided his hair down. I was like, do you really have to do that? And we tease each other all the time, but that's kind of the way he expressed himself. But I don't really look at it like a culture thing. I just don't like it.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it just, for me, I just like a clean-cut looking dude. It doesn't have anything to do with whether he's black or white.
Right. Bingo.
I just want you to look a certain way. And if we're, speaking to tattoos, I mean, Tyler has just as many, white friends that have tattoos as black guys. Tattoos is not something that I consider or that I identify my culture with, because that's something that, bikers do.
Hey now, Felicia. Felicia.
This is great.
Hey, Leah's all tatted up, Felicia, and it's crazy.
Covered in tattoos.
Yeah. And she likes
and I have zero, Felicia. I have zero tattoos. Yeah. These two in this studio with me are tattooed freaks.
No, that's not true. That's not true.
You know what? All it took for me was to watch one YouTube video of that needle going in and out, and I'm like, okay, no, that's just, but to each his own. I still don't really relate it to, culture. Maybe it's expression, expression of oneself or, whatever. Both my sons just got their first tattoos. They went and got them together while they were on break. Tyler got one. My brother died 3 years ago from a massive heart attack, and Tyler got one on his upper bicep, and Taylor got one of Christ on his forearm. But so it was their first ones. My dad is a Baptist preacher. He was like, "Oh my gosh, you guys!"
Yeah, my whole family is against my tattoos. I wear sleeves when I go around my family just because I don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
And
what a lot of people don't. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No, I was going to say, too, I used to work for the corporate offices of Starbucks, and one of the things people don't know, that part of their HR process is that you cannot work for Starbucks if you have visible tattoos, like in places like on your neck or on the face or whatever. They have to be able to be covered. So, again, some things I feel like are life lessons. I guess other people feel like are offensive to a culture. And I think it goes back to what Jordan was saying on the podcast about it really goes back to experiences and kind of where people come from. Tyler's experience in life is very similar to Jordan. Jordan was saying how he played in a Catholic school, so his, environment was predominantly white, and so Iowa wasn't a culture shock for him. Tyler's situation is very similar. Not a Catholic school, but we live, about 30 miles outside of Atlanta. We're a suburb of Atlanta. And our neighborhood is predominantly white. The high school he went to it's diverse, but predominantly white. And so he's transitioned really well. But I guess you do have guys who may have come from places, like Jordan spoke about, on the podcast, that have come from more, they're more, urban communities with a larger black population and haven't been exposed to a lot. So maybe it is a culture shock. And one of the things I found that he said that was pretty major was that you do kind of have to know the athlete, know the person that you're coaching and kind of where they come from, and then, kind of, understanding that, know how you, have to deal with certain people. And so, I think a lot of it really is just having a tough conversation and then deciding that after we have a tough conversation, it's like, how do we fix this? I think, with Iowa, it's like, it always hurts to look in the mirror and see all the flaws we have. You know, like I'm a new Iowa fan. I'm a new probably Big Ten fan because I'm an SEC girl.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, it hurt me. So I can only imagine, like, you know, what people who have, you know, loved this logo and loved this mascot and this program for years and years and years, and then for somebody to come along and say, "Hey, you're flawed. Like this is not good." That's hard and it's hurtful, and you know, you got to have a conversation. Then after people get over the ultimate shock of what that means, then once they've identified it, they can fix it. So I think it was a conversation that was necessary. And I think my personal belief is that Coach Ferris can do it. He will do it. I love the guys on that coaching staff, you know, Coach Bell, Coach Parker, Coach Fawcett. Coach Fawcett is one of my favorites. Even now, you know, I have a lot. Tyler has a lot of friends that's in Power 5 programs, and some of their parents don't have a relationship with coaches outside of the recruiting. Coach Foster still calls us on a regular to see how we're doing. How are you doing? Has Tyler, you know, said anything that I can help with or whatever? So, I mean, I don't know. It's, I think it happened, and I think that I was going to be better because of it. And I think this group is going to be special. I'm calling a championship.
I love it. I love it. Everything you said about the conversation is 100% correct. If we can have a conversation, if we can pause and just let someone talk for 4 minutes and look them in the eyes and not wait to say yeah, but. And you also mentioned like new to the Hawkeye family, and you can't imagine it hurts. No one is really going out there and saying how the Ferentz family is feeling over all this. And you kind of brought them up at the beginning about how much they care about everyone and how much your family likes their family and whatnot. Like, no one takes the time to sit back and be like, they've got to be like hurting a little bit inside that maybe they're being, they're being pushed in a negative direction. Their narrative with something that really they didn't do or they don't want, and they want to create the conversation, but they can't really say anything right now because of the ongoing investigation.
Yeah, and I mean, too, you know, I would say Coach Ferris is very old school. Like, I mean, he is not,
yes, for sure.
You know, I think I kind of got into a heated debate. I have a hard time muting myself on social media when I see foolishness, but I got into a kind of a heated debate with someone, and they were talking about, I think when the first happened with George Floyd, and somebody kind of made reference to, well, PJ Fleck came out and said something publicly. Well, PJ Fleck is kind of a big personality. He tweets. He does media.
Mm-hmm.
He's on Facebook. He speaks publicly. So I'm not surprised that PJ Fleck did that. Coach Ferris doesn't tweet. Coach Ferris doesn't. The way he handles that situation is the way
he still uses Morse code.
Everything. Yeah, I mean that's the way he handles everything. So why is it such a shocker that he handled this situation the same? And as a parent, on the inside, again, you know, we have people that kind of speaking on the outside that don't really know what's going on the inside. Coach Ferris did a really, really heartfelt conversation with our families and with our players. And just his raw emotion on the call was just let me know where he stood and where his heart was. It wasn't something that the world needed to know. To me, it felt like a family conversation. And when he finally did the news, I think, interview, one of the things he said was that the reason I didn't say anything is because I wanted to have a conversation with my family first, with my guys, with their parents. And that's kind of what I perceived that as. I didn't feel like it was, you know, him, you know, just not speaking out, or, you know, he didn't want to say, I saw somebody say something like, he didn't say anything in public because you can't, you know, when a racist speaks in public, they always get it wrong, or something. The racist side of them always comes out. You know, I don't know. I just really, you know, I'll go back to, you know, nobody will convince me that Kirk Ferentz has a racist bone in his body. The person that he is, you can't pretend to be that. He is one of the most beautiful human beings I've ever met. Aww. His wife is equally the same. They have beautiful spirits. I love them both. And the football program has been really, good to my son. Everything they've said, rings true. I'm not surprised that Tyler couldn't tweet. I'm not surprised that Tyler had certain things that he had to do with certain responsibilities, because as a recruit, it's it's transparent. Maybe a few things like, Coach Doyle being hardcore, maybe that wasn't. Well, you know what? I honestly can't even say that. When we sat down one-on-one with Coach Doyle, he was kind of straight to business. Like, this is what I do. This is how I do it. And maybe it was a little, the extent of what he did it is a little more intense. But I think he was pretty, forthcoming with what his expectations were, coming in the door, and that he had very little tolerance for, certain things. He emphasized being on time, doing what you're supposed to do, showing up where you're supposed to be. And so there was a lot of things that, he iterated. Now, what that means, once you get there, I can't really speak to that. I can just only go off of, my son's experience. But I really feel like Iowa is getting an unfair shake, at a lot of this, because I don't feel like a lot of these coaches are racist. Another one of my favorites is Coach Seth Wallace. He is one of the funniest dudes ever. So a lot of these coaches I've gotten to know, and
right.
I don't know. I'm just not convinced that the narrative that's been.
Don't you think it's thrown around way too frivolously? Like, it's just, I feel like people just go to that immediately, and then that's like it's an excuse to be not to be angry, but to be like,
to be dismissive,
to be pointed out, to be singled out. Like, he's only doing this to me because of the color of my skin, rather than maybe I wasn't living up to my potential, or maybe he was being harder on me because he sees more potential in me. Things like that. Like, I feel like it's the way things are now with the victimhood and cancel culture that we see so prevalently everywhere.
Felicia, to make a little joke about Coach being old school, I think and he called all the families, and it took a long time because he's still using a rotary dial phone. That's how old school he is.
I said Morse code. That was funnier.
I think he just started doing his own email up to 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Is the story that I've heard.
Yeah.
All right. So a couple things. One, this was already 100 times a better interview than what we had on Thursday. It was more important. It's
10 times, 100 times more important.
Oh my God.
I'm happy we gave you. We went longer than we did with you, and that makes that's exactly. This is exactly what it should be. Is that you have this conversation like this that goes on. There's a few more questions I want to ask you before we go back and we wrap some things up. So, Tyler and Taylor, you guys have an athletic family. They played other sports, I'm assuming, right? So you have the Iowa Hawkeyes. You have Mercer is in the Goodson family. What professional teams are you guys following?
Okay, so that's generally speaking, we're originally from North Carolina. So in terms of football, we were huge Panther fans.
Okay.
And then they got rid of Kim.
Uh-huh.
He's a Patriot now.
I'm not sure. Yes. The thing of it is that I kind of have grievances with the Panthers. I kind of feel like the way they handled, Steve Smith was wrong, and D'Angelo Williams, and I don't know if a lot of people know, but Steve Smith probably could have left the Panthers years ago to be a part of another organization and possibly have won a Super Bowl. But he loved Charlotte, and he loved the Panthers, and he stuck around, and I felt like the way that his relationship ended with the Panthers was really poor. And I kind of feel like they did, Cam the same way. He was kind of, in a slump, but, apparently he had been playing hurt for over a year, according, to reports. And so I don't know. I'm still a Panthers fan, but I don't know if it's possible to root for a quarterback on another team.
Yeah. Well, I want to invite you to Cowboy Nation because I want you to be a Cowboy fan.
The Chiefs.
No.
Have you seen how cute Patrick Mahomes is? Have you seen
how cute Dak Prescott is?
Not as cute as Patrick Mahomes.
He's way cuter.
Nope.
Well, a funny story about the Cowboys. So my entire family, my dad's family, the entire family, they are Cowboy fans, and I think we're probably the exception to the rule. Other than my cousin Zach, he's a huge Patriots fan, so we're like the outcast. when it comes to, professional football.
I love it.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's awesome, because if we're watching football on a Sunday, we want to be like, how's that going for Felicia's team, so we can still, because we want to continue this message, and we want to have you on as a guest whenever you can fit us in. Because we want to,
Absolutely.
like I said, when we started this, I don't want this to be like, it was the summer of 2020 thing or the fall season of 20. We want to
follow up and see how the coalition's going and see what progress you made as you reach other universities.
Yeah, we are pulling for your route.
Because you guys are still working on the paperwork for it to be the 501c3. You're still working on your membership areas, how that's going to go. So we need to follow up and keep doing these things. But real quick, I want to remind everyone they can follow this at Athlete Minority on Twitter.
Yes.
And then you guys have a Facebook page as well?
So I've been trying to do a Facebook page and find other social media presence, and it just has not happened yet. It's been, since all this happened, it's been, a roller coaster. And I would just like to, say thanks to you guys and, the Iowa community in general. I'm going to tell this quick story and I'll let you guys go. But the overwhelming support that I have received from the Iowa fan base has just been absolutely amazing. And I think guys might have read it in the Sports Illustrated story.
Yeah. Yes, we did.
A fan reached out to me from Iowa, and this is just one story. I mean, when this happened, I still have tons of messages that I haven't even got a chance to reply back to, but a particular guy reached out to me, and he and his father have been, they're huge Hawkeye fans. They're season ticket holders. And he said because of the COVID, they weren't going to purchase season tickets this year, and he wanted to donate the value of those tickets to the organization. And so we have people who really, the idea, and not that you don't have some, who are, don't want to support a cause or, really are, racist for whatever reason. But you do have those that I feel like in Iowa are more, I feel like the people that are not supportive and, I feel like they're a minority. And, but we have big voices of people that, are Iowa nice. And, Iowa has been just absolutely amazing. We love tailgating. We love being there. We met some really great friends. And so it's just been a really good experience. And, again, my heart was just as broken when all this came out. And I think people got to realize this really is bigger than Iowa football. It really is. This is a worldwide, pandemic, and it has nothing, and it really exceeds athletics. It's in the corporate America. It's, it's in our neighborhoods. It's in, people's everyday lives. It's so much bigger. So if we could take this one little corner and help just a little bit, and that's kind of what our goal is.
Yeah, but let's take this one little corner and let's paint the entire room, Let's really get after it. And let's keep spreading this message.
Absolutely.
All right. If you want to find out how to help, you can always go to @Athlete Minority or Felicia's on Twitter @Favored3470. It's FAVORED 3470. Let's stay in touch. Let's continue to promote this message. I want to tell you something. If I told the story on Thursday and I told it at the beginning that my immediate contact with Mr. Green kind of upset me a little, maybe made my tears well up. There was about 3 times during this interview that my tears welled up with happiness and pride.
Aww.
And I'm very happy for everything that you're doing. And I want our show to be a part of it, and I want to do whatever we can to continue this message. Like I said, it's not the summer of 2020. It's not whatever. Let's continue as much as we can. And anytime you need anything, reach out to me. And we'll put you on the air. We'll write something up. We'll start a fundraiser here in the Quad Cities. Anything you need, you let us know, and we'll back you 100%.
And to let you know, Felicia, we already have feedback from some of the fans. Mike Springsteen says you are by far his favorite guest we've ever had.
Aw. You're just winning over all the fans here, Felicia. You're stealing my spotlight, man.
By the way, we do need to replace Leah.
No!
Yeah.
Well, if it has to be anybody, Felicia's okay with me.
All right. Thank you so much for your time. You gave. I can't believe you gave us this much time, and I'm so happy that you did. And I stay safe down there.
Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah. Take care of the family. Stay safe, and go Hawks. And we will talk to you. We'll talk to you as soon as we can.
Happy Monday, Felicia.
Go Hawks. Happy Monday. Bye-bye.
Thank you
Bye.
so much. Yeah. That was awesome.
Dude,
she's great. I really like her.
And Jay, well, you're right. Like, there was a couple times, like, I got a little welled up.
Yeah.
Because, one, her intelligence is just shines through.
Articulation, the way she conveys a message.
The fact that her heart's in it, and she truly cares.
She's not biased either. She's very, very.
She
level
cares about people.
Headed, exactly.
In general.
Yeah, right.
And it's not about pointing the finger at these.
Exactly.
She goes, if we're gonna fix something, Jay, you said this a million times. You have to educate, and
But she also said there's real issues with this, and then there's those that aren't necessarily real, and they're
great.
She's very. I like how unbiased she was. That was my favorite thing.
I love the fact. I mean, to think. Go back to one thing she said about Kurt coming in her home and telling Tyler, "I'd rather have a team full of 3 stars."
Yeah.
Because I don't want the problems that 5 stars bring.
Ooh, I love it.
Not that 5 stars bring them, but a team of 5 stars that may bring. Well, I want a team of 3 stars that I know are going to buy into the team team concept of it. Yes.
I mean, not that there's certain 5 stars that wouldn't buy into it. You're right. All right. Yeah, but either way.
Well, let's take our break for.
Well, you guys are 5 stars, and you give me problems every day.
You're 5 star. All right, let's take a break.
Yeah, but she's 5 out of 10. Jay.
That was
so mean
awesome.
to me.
All right, let's take a break.
Felicia taking my spot. I quit.
Sweet. Bye.
Done Right TV and Security Solutions is proud to be your Dish Premier local retailer, but not Troy's. Use Dish's voice remote to search live TV, over 80,000 on-demand titles, Netflix at the same time. Done Right has all the products you need to turn your home into a smart home, unlike Troy's home. Not only do they have state-of-the-art products, they even have their own installation experts for TV mounts, wireless networks, home theaters, security systems, and more. Call 866-84-RIGHT today to get the package that is right for you. Netflix streaming membership required. Extra for Troy. Voice remote requires internet-connected hopper. Restrictions apply, especially for Troy. Once again, that's Done Right TV and Security Solutions, 866-84-RIGHT.
You like that? You like that? Woo! Give me a hell yeah! I said, give me a hell yeah!
Hey, this is Goose, PA announcer for the Quad City Storm, and you're listening to Don't Hassle Us, We're Local.
ESPN 1170 AM.
Introducing First Midwest Bank's newest branch, your home. With our online banking and mobile app, it's easier than ever to make a deposit from the dining room, pay bills from the patio, or get alerts in the loft. The convenience of First Midwest Bank, right from your own home. Visit firstmidwest.com/convenient to get started today. First Midwest Bank, momentum for life. Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Golick and Wingo.
Talking to Jay Williams, our ESPN basketball analyst.
If you're asking me to compare Adam Silver to Roger Goodell and to Rob Manfred and the way he's been able to run the NBA, I mean, I think Adam is one of the best leaders we not only have in sports, but I think we have in this country. And he's been extremely pragmatic about his approach and making sure that he has all the information available. And I think doing it at a closed location, Disney World is great. Having the teams there, having enough testing is there. And I also think that, for a lot of the players, with the exception of the guys who are making a lot of money, this could, if they can't get a season, and this ultimately could affect next year's CBA. And I think a lot of guys recognize that for players that are coming into the league, that players who aren't making millions of dollars, that, hey, like, this is their livelihood too.
Golick and Wingo, morning 6 till 9 on the Quad Cities Sports Leader, ESPN 1170.
This mother won't guilt trip you, doesn't expect you to call her back, won't stalk you on social, and doesn't compare you to your siblings. Too bad it's not your mother, but now it can be. The new Mother Cruncher Chicken Sandwich from Checkers. Crispy, crunchy, all-white meat with our signature squawk sauce and all the mother-loving fixins. Or the smoky sweet bacon barbecue Mother Cruncher. Get a better mother. The new Mother Cruncher Chicken Sandwiches, starting at $3.99. Get checkers delivered.
Golick and Wingo.
Matt Nagy joining Chicago Bears head coach. With these quarterbacks, what do they both know from you about the quarterback situation, potentially the starting quarterback position for Chicago?
They know everything that everybody else knows. And that's the best part of our situation that I feel like is they are literally both get an amazing fair chance to win the starting quarterback job for the Chicago Bears.
Golick and Wingo, morning 6 till 9 on the Quad Cities Sports Leader, ESPN 1170.
HempelSafety.com presents Clash of Legends. Pat Miletich and Michael Nunn, the greatest fighters in Quad City history, will face off in the Clash of Legends event Saturday, July 18th at the Mississippi Valley Fairgrounds. The two former world champions will compete in a professional kickboxing bout they are both calling a fight to unite. Clash of Legends will be the Quad City's first mega fight in 20 years. In a boxing showdown years in the making, Fred Two Fist Thomas will throw down with Steven Stunning Edwards, and MMA standouts Junior Hernandez and Jeremy Castro will fight each other in boxing. Other local boxers competing include Donovan Dennis and Jason Phillips. In addition to the Miletich Nunn bout, an undercard of kickboxing and boxing is also scheduled, featuring MMA legend Jeremy Horn and MMA fighters Jason Medina and Sean Huffman. Tickets available now at Jumpin' Joey's at 5 Points, the Mississippi Valley Fairgrounds office, or online at nitrotickets.com. Tickets start at $40. Sponsored by HempelSafety.com, Budweiser, and Radisson QC Plaza Hotel.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the greatest show in the Quad Cities. Just so anybody knows, this is the greatest show in the Quad Cities, Iowa. Not just a local show.
No, it's local to us.
Not just a little bit. I'm just saying, it's us. You guys know. It's Don't Hass is a local. Jaybird, T-Roy, and Sir Bombs.
ESPN 1170 AM. Follow us on Twitter.
Can we call her Sir Bombs a lot?
Yeah, sure. At QC Hassel. Also at ESPN 1170 AM. You can also watch us on Facebook on our Don't Hass Us for Local Facebook page. Leave comments on there on the Harrington's Pub Facebook comment thread. Over the weekend, Bryson won the Rocket Mortgage, and we did a little DraftKings thing brought to you by our friends at Hidden Hills.
Mm-hmm.
Even though it's hot out there, maybe when the sun's going down, you want to hit the links, do a little golfing. Make sure to head out to 4335 Indiana Avenue in Bettendorf, Iowa, just north of the TBK Center at 563-332-5616. Is what you can give them a call, set up tee time. Check out everything they have to offer at hiddenhills-golf.com. The thing is about the
How do we do in our thing?
We won like $8 some dollars or whatever.
But whose?
I think I'll look it up.
I think we should split it 3 ways.
No, we're just getting the bigger ones. But the thing is, I need to get in the right tournaments. Like I only got into like the 2-day before the cut, so it didn't make that much.
You guys took Fowler, who did pretty well.
Yeah.
Come on, what do we got?
Hold on, I gotta look at recent here. Where we got made money in. Let's see. We got I don't know what I guess maybe I didn't win. We didn't do very well.
What do you mean?
Uh-oh.
We didn't do well. Like I got
which one did better?
Oh, okay. Let's see, you got the most points. I can do that.
I can't do my hair.
I don't know. Which one did you have, T-Roy?
Well, just give me the list.
Fowler, Watson, List. That's the other one?
Yeah.
That one did better.
By how much?
By just about 48 points.
Oh.
You had someone he had 2 that missed the cut. You had one that withdrew.
Who withdrew?
I'm going to pull that up for
you. Was it Tyler Gooch?
He pulled out.
Gooch did not. Nah did.
Kevin Nah?
Yeah, so did the Gooch did as well too.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so they only got you 14 and 10 points. Other than that, you had a pretty good round.
Yeah, Kevin Nah. Tyler. I was going to take Tony Finau instead of Kevin Nah. I would have probably run
it.
Nah.
You did all right.
Well, that's the last time I take Tyler Gooch.
Very good, Gooch.
Or Kevin Nah.
Nah.
Yeah.
Majority of the questions going on is what's going to happen. Will it be MLB? Will it be? Are we going to have the NBA? I don't know, to be honest with you. I think we're going to start them, and I think we're going to not finish them. But again, I didn't even think they'd start the baseball.
I'd rather talk to Felicia Goodson all day, every day.
I know. Can we have her back?
I want to hear her talk about everything. By the way, it's going to make my friend Shelley Lang a huge fan of her. By the way,
Felicia was awesome.
So
either way, I am. Yeah,
Twitter,
I gotta go open a bar, Jay.
I know, in a second. And on Twitter on Friday, I know you got to go. On Twitter on Friday, we put out a Twitter poll. Let's play along. What should the new name of the NFL team, soon to be formerly known as the hashtag Washington Redskins?
I'm going to win this one.
We put out the Independence, the Freedom, the Pigskins, and the Murder Hornets. 79 votes came in. Murder Hornets win at 55.7%.
Who came up with that name?
Second?
Pigskins.
So
Pigskins is a good name.
Bomber beat Troy.
Oh, R.I.P. I don't know if you saw this. Charlie Daniels, music icon Charlie Daniels, passed away at 83.
Who did?
Oh, no.
Yeah, Devil and Down to Georgia guy.
Oh, well.
Not from COVID, though.
I didn't click on that. No, I can't. But I'm just...
we don't want to know.
Yeah.
I think
Murder. You can't have murder in the name of a team, Lisa. Good try.
Yeah,
well,
you know what?
Come on, no, why not?
Murder Hornets. Killer bees, then. Oh, wait, is that different?
Would it upset you that I don't know? Will you do me? I can't. Friend of the show, Coach John Lavelle, my former coach, sent me a link. I don't know if it's true that there is a college in Virginia that is thinking about changing their mascot name from the Wasp
to.
It doesn't matter. They just think it's not right because of the acronym for the white Anglo-Saxon person.
What? Are you kidding me?
I don't know. I have to look at the link. I just wanted to bring it up.
Was it the Onion? Was that the source?
No. All right, so we know that the Washington Redskins are looking into it. They're trying to come up with some things that the new head coach, Ron Rivera, wants a name change. FedEx CEO Frederick W. Smith is lobbying for the name to change, that they're not going to be able to build a stadium unless they are going to be able to change their name. The federal officials there told Snyder they wouldn't sell him the land he wants for his new stadium, and if the team name isn't changed. And now the Indians are looking into it. And the Indians is not anything new at all. I mean,
they've been fighting about this forever.
Yeah. They phased out Chief Wahoo logo years ago. And manager Terry Francona thinks it's time to move on from the name altogether.
Well, you've seen my shirt that I wear.
The Caucasians?
Yeah, it's the Indians logo, but it's the white guy instead of an Indian.
I don't know why. I'm sure this is it. I know I saw a lot of people put this, but at the top of the list, from CBSSports.com, Cleveland Spiders. And I'm sure there's a history behind it that I don't know why everyone really likes that. I don't know.
Spiders. It's not intimidating.
I
mean, if you're a girl and you're 12, spider.
I don't like spiders.
Of course you don't. Troy.
I'd have to do the background.
I said 12-year-old girl.
I'd have to do the background for a lot of these. Why these are possible new nicknames. But
you run like a girl.
Cleveland Naps. Cleveland
girl,
Fellers.
So. Cleveland what?
Fellers. For Bob Fellers. Cleveland Rockers.
Ew.
How about Cleveland the Stinky Lakers?
Well, that would be the
Cleveland Dirty Gym Bags.
There is a Cleveland Great Lakers, which is a terrible name. The Cleveland Cuyahogas.
What is a Cuyahoga?
There's a red moon rising on the Cuyahoga River.
That sounds more offensive
rolling
than
down to Cleveland to the lake. That's the song.
Such a good song.
That's the song at the beginning of Major League.
The voice of an angel.
Yeah, it sounds like it. I love it. Put me to sleep.
We only have a few more minutes. T-Roy, go open up a bar. Go see T-Roy at Oscars.
Yeah, I got to open Oscars. They called in the big guns, and I'm going to be there to blow you away. Leah, make sure you shut that down correctly. Don't screw it up. I come back tomorrow.
I'm not making any promises right now.
Love you, Quad Cities.
See you there,
Love you, Troy.
Let's see, what else? Cleveland Unions, Cleveland Blues, Cleveland Cinders.
What?
Well, that would kind of be, didn't it, when the Cuyahoga River caught on fire? That would be a thing.
Did
like
it?
The ashes of it. Yeah, it just cinder ashes. I'd have to do the background for each one of these names and then give you a power rankings of where they are. Cleveland Castles, Cleveland Hazards. Then they have Cleveland Burning River. Cleveland
my
Buckeyes.
Lord,
I don't
have mercy!
like
This is
Buckeyes.
ridiculous.
Yeah,
I don't like any of it. Murder Hornets is the best, only because it's funny and relevant to the times. I can't believe I got I said it as a joke, and we got the most votes for that one.
As soon as you put it on there, like in one of the comments, I'm like, that's got to make the poll because it's easily one of the best. Murder Hornets is one of the best, but
why don't we just get crazy with it and be like Shark Hornets or like Shark Birds or Shark Eagles?
Just call them Sharknadoes. Yeah.
Sharknado would be amazing.
Just get the.
You know how many people would buy their merchandise?
Yeah,
because it's a Sharknado.
It's actually pretty good.
That's not bad. That would have won the poll if you would have put that on there. That trumps Murder Hornets, I think, all day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there sharks in Washington D.C. area?
I mean, professional sports have become somewhat of a joke anyway, so let's just throw that out there. Let's just start naming them like, naming them after Jaws, like Phoenix Jaws, or Freddy, the Freddies, after just scary things. Let's just do it. Let's just get crazy.
There's I've had way too many conversations over the weekend of where people trying to play devil's advocate. It's not like they were like, don't change the name of the Redskins. They were just being like, well, where does it stop?
It doesn't.
Well, it does.
It doesn't, though.
It does.
I mean, are we going to erase everything? I was watching Family Guy last night, and I was like, I cannot believe, with all the cancel culture going on right now, that Family Guy's still on the air. The offense. I mean, I saw like 12 things.
I think it was canceled at once because of how offensive it was, and then they
back
and then they got it brought back on.
Like 12 times last night. I was like, oh my gosh. Like, I mean, the things that they say is South Park too. They say some things that are just like, holy moly. I can't believe people aren't calling in, writing in, boycotting, picketing. It's got to stop at some point. We can't keep canceling everybody. And I think once cancel culture goes both ways, more so than it is now, I think people are going to start to get their acts together and just stop. Because we're going to just delete everything. We're not going to have television. We're not going to have cable. We're not going to have anything. No sports, nothing.
Well,
what do you think about the national anthem for the NFL, playing the Black national anthem, Jay?
I will honestly tell you, I refuse to click on anything because I was just so spent over what had happened and then getting into the name changing. And I had like a really, really dumb conversation with somebody on Friday who just kept trying to bait me into an argument. I don't know anything about what the new Black national anthem is, or I shouldn't even say new, the Black national.
It's just, I can tell you,
somebody's post who the guy was like, this is racist. And I was like, you know what? It's a pretty good video. He's like,
it's a great song. But I feel like, first of all, the Black National Anthem it's not called the Black National Anthem. They're adopting it as such. It was actually a song written about Abraham Lincoln, who was a white president who freed the slaves, as we all know. I feel like if we keep segregating things, we're going backwards. The national anthem is not the white national anthem. The national anthem is for every single color, creed, religion that exists inside the United States.
And that's what this gentleman was saying. I started following him on Facebook. I can probably pull it up.
When you start to separate this, we're going backwards. I mean,
he was a black man, and he's like, are you guys out of your mind?
Yeah, you know how many? Yeah, I have a lot of black friends that are saying like, no, we don't want this.
It's racist.
Yeah,
it is. Start calling it what, the white national
anthem?
Because
then we need a Mexican anthem. We need an Asian anthem, because guess what? The United States is comprised of every nationality. We're not just one color. It blows my mind that people are for this. I think a lot of people want segregation, and I think the people that want segregation are the people that we can refer to as racist versus the ones who want, integration. That's my opinion.
No, I don't think it's the best idea that they could have had. And but again, I didn't look too much into it because it was one of those things that sometimes I feel like I'm dealing with enough stuff, and that I was like, I just didn't want to tackle just one more issues. And these are also things like sometimes I think I black out, not actually from a blackout, because I'm like, I can't believe we're to this point.
Right. It's crazy. It is. 2020 is something else, is it not? But if you look back over history, every election year is similar to this.
It's similar, but it's not just an election year.
But if you look at
the major ones that you can point to, you're going to point to 68 and 92, okay?
Yeah.
You're going to point to
those. 08. 08 is another one. You're going to look at all of these election years, and this is when there's more division. Now, that's not a coincidence. This is manufactured, and I just wish more people would be open to that idea and quit being manipulated. And that's my perspective.
Well, I think if we've learned anything from the interview we had today, it is to educate ourselves on the things that happened not in the election year and maybe wasn't highlighted. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because
Absolutely.
There's plenty of things that happened in between, maybe not highlighted by certain people or certain media.
Yeah.
But we need to educate that this is
racism exists. It doesn't exist.
I don't believe the Emmett Till situation happened during an election year. How's that?
Well,
yeah. You know what I'm saying?
But we've come a long way since Emmett Till, though, as well. I mean,
we mentioned 68. We're not too far from that.
Well, but we are, and we're a different generation. We've grown up, raised differently, I hope, most of us.
Well, this either or. How far we've come, it's still something that needs to be taught that it happened.
Well, it is our responsibility to teach it in the home. I don't like it when it's involved with politics or it's involved with it's something that starts in the home, period. You have to teach your kids right from wrong. And this isn't happening. And I see it both ways. I see racism from all ends of the board, if you will. It's not a chess game anymore. We just need to stop and, join forces. I'm over it. I'm exhausted.
And I think that's what we do. I think we're in a step in the right direction for where we want to go and what we want to highlight on our show by having Felicia Goodson
but
on
we
today.
need everybody else on board.
But I mean, I think, the thing is we can only control what we put on the air and what we have here. Everyone else, they can turn off the radio if they don't want to hear it, and they can tune in and they can continue to support us and say, have more people like this. I like having the feedback when people say, best interview, much better. I loved Thursday, but and I'm getting all the feedback. Great interview. She was awesome, and
she was great.
It's not the last time we're going to have someone like Felicia's cause on to talk about these things. But we're going to get that break in, the commercial break before we go.
Okay.
So you do that. Then we'll go to commercial.
All right.
Well, maybe I should do one. What do you have?
Yeah, you go ahead. I got repeats.
Okay. Well, yeah, because I got to. I've got to remind everyone about Just Doors QC. They are a locally owned shop that sponsors Don't Hassle Us for Local, a local radio show here in Davenport. And remember that something that's going to pay dividends for years to come is replacing your front door with a modern door. It adds immediate curb appeal, increases in home value, and it will end the draft underneath during the winter months. These are all these things you need to be thinking of now in case maybe you want to sell in the future. Go ahead and get a hold of Paul at Just Doors QC, 309-657-8541. And don't forget to look for the red ambulance company truck that's going out there as well. Go to their Facebook page, Just Door QC. You can see the before and after photos of all their work that they do. It's definitely worth your time to get a hold of them. Just Doors QC. Call Paul at 309-657-8541.
This is Tom Kakert from HawkeyeReport.com, and you are listening to Don't Hassle Us, We're Local.
ESPN 1170 AM.
Car old? Need it sold? Get rid of that old car and do a good deed at the same time. It's the Arrowhead Ranch Annual Auto Auction coming soon to Coal Valley. That's right, it's back. Donate your car, truck, SUV, or motorcycle, and if you live within 40 miles of Coal Valley, they will even pick it up, even if it doesn't run. All donations are tax deductible. Call 309-799-7044 or visit them online at arrowheadyouth.org. Car old, needed sold, Arrowhead Ranch Annual Auto Auction. Stay tuned for an auction date in Coal Valley.
Gulick and Wingo.
You want to get into the bubble with a bunch of negative tested people, and then you try and keep it that way. The problem is, it's not only known as a bubble, it's known as the mesh hat, because there are going to be people every day from the outside coming in to help in the next few months with all of this, and then they will leave the mesh hat and go home and then come back in. So that's going to be the issue there. And I get not having an exact answer of